Coding is not for you. Now, I know that sounds super alarming for a lot of people, especially how we talk about preaching code and we preach why you should learn how to code, why you should learn how to code. But I'm telling you right now, programming and learning how to code is not for you. Drum roll, please. If you have this mentality right here. See, I was talking to a friend the other day, and that friend was telling me, look, hey man, I want to learn how to code. What is that process like? And as I was telling him and talking him through it, he was like, wow, man, that's kind of a lot. And I was like, yeah, it's a lot. You know, this isn't going to be something that's relatively easy. And he said verbatim, word for word, I need something a lot faster. I'm sure I need something a lot faster. Everything I've seen about coding says that it's something you can easily learn in 4 or 5 months. I stopped him in his tracks and I was like, no, that is not how that works. That is completely how that works. Where did you see that? And sure enough, he told me, which where I feel like a lot of people fall into this, and we talk about it sometimes, but we don't really make it a whole topic. He told me he found that out on YouTube. From a video, I think he said it was titled like I learned to code in 3 months or something like that. And the video, I was like, okay, well, what happened in the video? Like, what was he saying? He was like, well, basically, he just said that, like, you know, you can learn a certain language and you can, you know, use that language to go out and get a job. And I was like, okay. And then I said, did he happen to promote a course at the end of the video? And he stopped for a second and he looked down and he was like, yeah, you know, he did. I thought about getting it. And I was like, no. I was like, stop right there. You're going to fall into the same trap that literally everybody falls into. And I'm so glad that you asked me this question. I told him all of this. I was like, I'm so glad you asked me this question before you went and bought that course, because you would have never finished that course, number one, because it was probably going to be so freaking confusing. And number two, you were probably giving that guy 50 to 60 bucks. And you were no chance of becoming a programmer in 3 to 5 months. And I told him literally all of this. And he was like, okay, well, what does the process actually look like? And I was like, dude, if you cannot dedicate 16 to 24 months to learning how to code, then you don't need to become a developer. And sure enough, he was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. And I was like, fair point. At least I saved you the time from thinking that programming is a get-rich-quick scheme. Because I feel like that's what a lot of people, you know, when they first get started and when they're first looking at things, they think that's what it is. They think, okay, you know, I see this YouTube video or I see this one person, which there are, don't get me wrong, there are people, there are those golden unicorns out there that can learn to code in short amount of time and they can pick up things really, really fast. Like, for example, I had a friend who knew how to snowboard the first time he got on the snowboard. And me, it took me like 7 tries before I could get down the bunny slopes, and he was already hopping on the black diamonds. Some people are just naturals on things. Another example, jiu-jitsu. A lot of people can start training jiu-jitsu, which is just ground combat, grappling stuff. A lot of people can just start training jiu-jitsu and they just naturally can pick it up and they're just natural athletes. Me, I wasn't that. It took me 6 to 8 months before I could freaking submit anybody. And that's just how it works. That's just how it works. And the same thing applies to programming. You have those people who are just naturals. They're just naturals. They can pick things up really quick. But the problem is when you give those people a platform like YouTube to share content on, they feel like they can use that to their advantage because they did it and they feel like they can use that to promote their courses and their videos and things along the lines. And that's just not the case. That's just not the case. If even they were actually able to do that. Like I said, it's very rare for people to actually be able to pick up on things that quickly, to be able to go out and be proficient in programming in 3 to 5 months. Like I said, it's possible, but it's very rare. Now, if you know that you're someone who can do something like that, by all means, go for it. Give it a shot. Give it a try. Me, on the other hand, I'm like, no, there's no way. That's impossible. And that's what it comes down to. It's basically this concept of understanding that programming is a lifelong journey rather than a quick get-rich-quick scheme. This isn't drop shipping. We're not teaching you how to go out and make a Shopify store and sell custom clothes, okay? This is completely different. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. This is not a pyramid scheme. This is not a quick hack in order to make money quickly. Programming is literally a career field that takes so much time and learning in order to get where you want to be. And you have to be willing to dedicate that time. So if you're someone who's like, I want to get in the field of programming, I want to learn how to code, and you're maybe thinking like, you know, I want to learn how to code fast, that's completely fine. Because obviously, you know, there is the truth to this, is that programming, learning to code and getting a job in programming, you're going to learn that a lot more quickly than it would be like going to college to become a nurse, for example. The great part is you don't have to spend 4 years, but you also can't get greedy and not be willing to spend at least a year to 2 years. Now, there are some things to make the process a lot quicker. And that comes down to learning techniques, right? So how are you learning how to code? Are you just, following and watching tutorials and just, spending hours and hours clicking away at YouTube videos? Or are you actually sitting down and slamming out code and building things? That can help you learn a lot more quickly. The same thing goes if you have a mentor. If you don't have a mentor and you get stuck, you can easily take a freaking 4-week hiatus, right? But if you have a mentor who's pushing you and trying to keep you accountable, the odds of you doing that become a lot less likely. Also, it depends on what path you take. If you want to become a game developer and you're saying, I want to be a game developer, odds are you're not going to make money really fast in programming. That's just not how game development, that's not how the industry and the field works. Same thing with, even mobile app development. If you want to become an iOS developer, it's going to be a lot more hard to find, it's going to be a lot harder to find jobs. They're there, don't get me wrong, they're there, but they're not in as demand as some other fields. For example, web development. This is why we talk about it so much. I think I talked about it in the last 2 videos, but we're not going to stop because it's so important to hit this home. Web development as a career field can go a lot more quickly and you can get where you want to be a lot faster because the learning curve is much less steep and the jobs are in such high demand. Everybody's looking for web developers out there. And I know what a lot of people are going to say. They're going to be like, well, that's not true. There's a lot of, the market's oversaturated. That's completely invalid. The market is not oversaturated. You just don't know how to go out and land a job because we have hundreds of students at Devslopes Academy landing jobs in web development left and right. It's a game. You have to learn how to play the game, but the jobs are there. Don't tell me the jobs aren't there. I'm trying to stop the comments before they even happen, but they're probably going to happen regardless. So that's pretty much the gist of this video. Understand that, programming is not going to be a get-rich-quick scheme. Number one, it's not going to be a get-rich-quick scheme. And if you think that, I hate to tell you this, but you should not become a programmer. Do not learn how to code. You're good. Goodbye. Get out of the field. If you can't spend 16 to 24 months to dedicate towards programming and you're going to get greedy and say, man, I think I can learn in 4 to 5 months or I want to learn in 4 to 5 months, then you're not going to become a programmer because this is a journey. This is a process. And it's not something that's going to happen overnight. And it's not something that is going to happen in 3 to 5 months just because a YouTuber said it so. So understand that. Don't play into these false hopes. Everything in life comes with work. Everything. There's no other way to put that. I was not able to submit anybody in jiu-jitsu for 6 to 8 months. It took 6 to 8 months before I could submit someone. A lot of people, it's not that way, but it took work. And now I'm a purple belt. You will grow with any skill as long as you put in the time and effort. And as long as you look at it as a journey, not a page turn. Gang, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope this helps a lot. I know it's a little harsh. I know this is probably news that you don't want to hear sometimes, but it needs to be said. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Like I said, here at Devslopes, we want to keep it as real as possible. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.